Doom, 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 doom. You're laughing. You don't even know what that song is, do
I
you?
don't. Nope, I
Yeah,
don't.
that's Pink Floyd, Money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I just let you do you, honey.
I know, I know. You're like, all right, here he goes. He's singing, humming. He's in a good mood. Uh,
Exactly.
yeah. So, welcome, Yun. How are you today?
Amazing.
I've been with you most of the day, so I know that. But anyone that's watching knows you're amazing. So it's funny because I was going to grab a notebook and I started thinking about, today's topic or this month, we're going to be talking about money. Something happened a couple of weeks ago. We had to cancel this. Oh, this big snowstorm. The big
Yes, there was a
snowstorm. So I don't know where we are. It doesn't really matter. However, I was laughing because this concept of money, most of us have grown up in a situation. Well, I take that back because I don't know who's watching and what they're doing. I grew up and I'll pull it back. Let me hit the reset button. Reset. Here we go. We grow up with a belief around money that carries us through. Okay. And that's very true about so many things as far as what our parents have taught us, what school has taught us, what everyone has taught us as we grow up and looking to keep us safe. And, people don't know what they don't know, and they don't know what the impact is going to have that they teach us. Some of the things that we get taught are amazing. Some of them don't really serve us. And I know growing up in, for me, I looked at money as not very much of a positive thing. And when I went to grab my notebook, I just had this thought because I saw this dollar bill on my desk. And I was like, it's so funny. We give so much power to this thing. Like, it's not even that good looking. And then I started laughing, Jan, because I'm like, wait a second, Costa Rica has really good looking money. Do you remember the money with the sharks and the monkeys and all that stuff? So anyway, so let's dive right into money. And like I said, most of us have a belief system around money. Can you just share with everyone growing up, what was money to you? What was you and your parents' attitude towards money? Talk to me about some money.
Oh my gosh, there are so many paradigms around money within my family, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. Being immigrants coming over here, we literally came for the land of opportunity. So it was all about survival, right? And my parents wanting more because they had a really tough life in Korea as far as money was concerned. I mean, they hustle, bustle, and they just knew that if they got to America, that there would be an opportunity to make more money. And that's really what the driving force of coming to America was. So fast forward, we get to America, and the environment that I grew up in and the parents that I have, amazing lessons, but it was all about hustle to make more money, right? So I grew up in an environment where my parents were working 20 hours a day for over 2 decades because they wanted more money. Right? Then on top of that, the mindset was you got to save, right? Money is to make and save. So the paradigm, the programming behind money in my family was you have to work to make money. If you want to make more money, you have to work harder, right? So, I mean, my parents wore many different hats. We as children started working at a very young age. And then when you made the money, you didn't spend it, you saved it. You saved it. Now, there were so many great lessons that came out of that because through their saving, they were able to purchase a couple things here and there. But this thing around money, it really controlled our entire family. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that because if you don't have money, what are you thinking about? How to make money.
Yeah, or not having money.
Right. So your whole, and I go back to, it's just so wild to think, oh, I used to take pride in the fact that I could do circles around people and work really, really hard, right? And working really, really hard to make more money, really, I jeopardized so many things. I jeopardized my relationships. I jeopardized, my health. I jeopardized my value of who I am. I mean, I got kind of lost along the way because I was chasing this thing about, oh my God, I got to make more money. I got to make more money. And the concept around making more money, like I truly believe that it is everybody's rightful duty to make more money, right? But it's actually the belief system on how to make money that was really the paradigm, right? My belief system around how to make more money was to work harder. And as you and I have discovered over time, and thank goodness to being able to study and be connected to people and, really investing in ourselves, the fact of the matter is money is just energy, right? And money is only good for what it can do, what the good it can do. And, you know, you and I attracted each other for that reason, because you know how that goes. What was your, you know, your same paradigm around money?
Yeah, mine was similar, but different. And if you see me chuckle, Michaela just walked in and I was like, we're doing something live. And she's like tiptoeing around. I'm like, it's not that. So, you know, money for us was a bad thing. And money for us was a bad thing because growing up in raised by my mom, and I won't go down that route. There's a million different stories, but, you know, my mom was a single parent, you know, worked multiple jobs to raise us. For me, the lack of money meant the detachment from family. It was struggle. It was people that had money were bad. People that had money were greedy, and almost, you know, conditioned myself that I don't want to have money. And what was, you know, Biggie Smalls, more money, more problems, right? So that's the feeling, is that, you know, there's this attitude of money is a really, really bad thing. And when we stop, you know, now I'm at a point in time that I can scream up and down, like, I love money. Money is amazing. And I say that without guilt, without prejudice, without any fear, because we got to stop and think that the silly thing that we put so much, you know, give so much power to is amazing, because the old adage, money doesn't buy happiness. That's true. However, money provides for basic necessities. So if you don't have money, it's going to be hard to have shelter. If you don't have money, it's going to be hard to have food. If you don't have money, it's going to be hard to have transportation. If you don't have money, it's going to be hard to have education. So everything that we tie it to is really essential. However, when we are raised in an environment where it's a negative and it's a bad paradigm, it really throws us off and can do a lot of damage to us and our relationships as we move forward. You know, I think for me, the big shift around money came, what was he on, back in 2009, maybe? I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. Well, you know, it's funny because I remember when I used to ask people certain things and they'd be like, well, my daughter was this age when we did this, and now I do the same thing. I'm like, how old was our daughter when we went to that thing? Well, we had gone to,
I think it was 2012.
was it 12?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, sometime between now and then. So I remember that we got really excited because on the radio we heard, you know, oh, you know, you can make money with other people's money. And we're like, wow. And I was like, that sounds great. So I'm like, look, how do you do that? And same thing, like, save as much as you can. And I'll never forget, you know, it was just last summer, listening to Grant Cardone, who's not big in the world of law of attraction, was like, listen, when you save for a rainy day, you're basically praying for a rainy day. So Grant's big thing is invest, invest, invest. And that's what I love about him. However, I remember this idea of making money with other people's money. So we went to that seminar and then we got all excited about it. And then we, you know, paid, I think, $200 to go to a 3-day event. And there was a good, I think, 3 hours that talked about money as a tool. And the concept was simple, but it was like I learned another language. And it was this idea of, wait a minute, what if we looked at money was a tool, and money was something that we leverage versus something we had to chase after? And realistically, like, do we get emotionally attached to our tools? Like, I have a hammer and I'm like, I don't walk around like, look at how nice my hammer is. Like, this thing is amazing. I'm so lucky I have it. This is great. No, I pick it up, I use it, I put it down, I move on to something else to get the job done. So that was really the biggest shift for me, because they said, well, wait a minute, don't chase money, look at for what money is, and then understand how to use it. Now, the light just didn't all of a sudden click on. I'm like, all right, great, here we go. There was a process that I had to go through. There was a rewriting of the script in my mind around money that I had to go through. However, once I looked at it, and even the idea of like paying interest and high interest, right? It's like, don't pay interest. Like, that's really, really bad, because again, the bank's making more money and you're giving it away, giving it away, giving it away. Well, when it comes to money and being a tool, when there's a win-win situation, does it really matter how much interest you're paying? No, you have the tool, you use it for what it's worth, you put it down and you move on to something else.
I love what Greg will put in. Hi, Greg. He put, money has no feelings, but it does have energy. And it's so, so true. And over the weekend, we were just at a conference in Detroit, and there was a gentleman, and he quoted somebody, and many of you guys might know who it was, but I don't remember the gentleman that quoted it. But he said, money is a, what do you call it? Money is a horrible master, but an amazing servant. So, you know, some paraphrase like that. And it's really that's the case, right? And it isn't. And I'm just going to put a shout out to the conference that we went to, but it was Fortune Builders that we ended up going to and investing into that to be able to learn. And Matt, I don't know if you remember, but we spent, especially for my mind, right? I remember spending about a good year asking all these amazing investors that were actually where we wanted to be, because I couldn't wrap my head around borrowing money when we had our own capital. And it was so wild because we were holding on to our capital, waiting for that great deal. And, you know, nothing showed up. And it wasn't until we decided to actually lend our money out, we found the deal, which put our backs against the wall, that turned us into actually borrowing money. And then we did the deal. And then at the end of the day, we created the win-win-win-win. And all of a sudden, it was like light shined on Marble Head, like, oh my gosh, right? It's just used as a tool. And the more that we can become free with it and really allow it to do what it is that we want to do, that's when it starts really working for us. And I just have to add in, going back to, we're students of Bob Proctor, right? Thinking into Results. We're coaches of Thinking into Results, and we highly believe this. But for so long, I've been programmed under, and I think everybody, a lot of people that's listening out there have been programmed this way. We've been programmed to, we're born, we go to school, we go to 12 years of graduating from high school. The natural programming is you go to college. After college, most people go online or something, and they start looking for a job, right? They start looking for a job and say, what do I want to do for work that's going to pay me what I want? I know that's what I did.
Well, pay me what I have to make to pay my loans back.
Right. So you start thinking of all these things that you have to do. And that's exactly why for, 20 plus years, I found myself in that rat race chasing money, working harder and harder and harder and harder for money. And then I found out, ooh, what a wrong belief to have, because work should be something that you love to do. Because the purpose of us all being on this planet, our only purpose is to grow. Right? To grow. So if our purpose is to grow, then working should be something that we love to do, right? So that we're growing into who we're becoming, because law of compensation teaches us, right? Bob Proctor teaches us, law of compensation is very simple. 3 things, right? The need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty it is to replace you. So first and foremost, if you have a thought in your mind of something that you want to do, you better believe that there's a need for what you do. There is a need for what you do, because that idea can't come into your mind if there's somebody out there or an audience out there that we're all connected, right? So there's a need for whatever that idea is. There's a niche market or a mass market, whatever it is, there's a need. Number 2, your ability to do it. So what would it look like if everyone worked for their money, right? They did something that they love to do. Their ability to do it gets better and better and better and better because they love to do it. Then the third thing just takes care of itself, right? The difficulty it is to replace you. It becomes ridiculously difficult to replace you, even if there's a million people doing exactly the same thing, because you love doing it. Nobody can do it the way that you do, right?
Okay. You put your heart and soul into it, right? There's that passion, that burning desire.
100%.
It's interesting because this idea of creating a life that you really enjoy and rewards you versus having to chase, right there, I instantly can hear, thousands of people as far as paradigms of saying, well, I can't step away from this, because what happens, I have this, all these bills to pay for, and how can I really pursue something I've never done before? I don't have the resources for. So it's interesting that this thing keeps swirling around in so many different directions that really holds us down. And I love the fact, I'm like, oh my gosh, you get to see who's communicating on Facebook. I love the fact that Greg said that. I mean, if you really, really want to break it down, we're in the space of educating people on paradigms and energy. And really, money is energy, just like anything else that's around us. It's something, in one state or another. So again, why is it that we give so much power to something that's really like on its face value? Like, what can you actually do with a physical dollar bill? Besides Brian O'Clair folding it up into a little tuxedo shirt at our dry cleaners from years and years ago, right? Or any type of little origami thing. There's not a lot you can actually do with money. Now that I say that, I'm thinking of all these different things you can actually use to create like little projects. I think I did an anniversary gift to you years ago on pennies. I did. I think it was our 7th anniversary. I had little pennies. One was like the first year that we were married, and never mind. I'm a hopeless romantic if people don't know.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And I'm so grateful to have you as my husband. And with that said, Matt, right, it's so important. And just a couple of things that I want to share, because we do have only 14 minutes, but I think some of the valuable nuggets that will help, right? Just like Grant Cardone, I believe that the most important thing that we can do is invest. Number one, invest in yourself. Invest in yourself, because this entire journey of life is really to become more aware of who you are and what you are. So number one, invest in yourself. Number two, invest your money, right? We've been marketed to for generations upon generations upon generations that we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. If you want it, absolutely, I'm not saying that, but don't waste your money on things that you don't even want or need just because you're in a program of purchasing and being that consumer, right? Because investing is so, so beautiful. When you can invest on something that's going to give you a higher return, you're winning all day long. And then when you can have multiple buckets of things that's going to give you passive income, because my true belief is this: the real currency in life is not money anymore. The real currency in life is time. It's time, right? Time to do what we want to do, to spend it with who we want to spend it with, time to have the experiences that we're meant to have. So with that said, I think just something that I want to share. When it comes to investing, a lot of people don't know where to start, right? You don't know what you don't know. But I almost picture investing almost like a delayed gratification, right? You know that you have to make active money somewhere. You're going to do something where that's going to give you active income. Now take that active income and invest it into create more passive income, right? And then you can actually create another one where you get that passive income to create another passive income. But at least if you're spending that passive income, you're not trading dollar per dollar for hours, right? You're not trading, I want this and I have to sacrifice X amount of time so that I can get this. So that it's just a little bit of delayed gratification. And I just want that to sink in so much, because I think we as a society, it's like we have we want everything right here, right now, right here, right now. And that's great. That's great. But let's put some thought energy to what type of life we want to live, what type of future we want to create, right? What type of family life, friendship life, and all of that stuff. Because if we put more energy into what we want our future to look like, we will receive so much bigger returns. I'm a huge believer in this, that the masses have been programmed to think about what they want to do, on the weekends, more than what they want their future to look like. And anybody that studies mindset and whatnot knows that everything exists twice. It exists in thought creation, and then it comes into physical reality. So if we're not thinking about what we want our future to look like, we become part of everybody else's dreams with no say, no dictation on where our life is headed. Yes, Greg, anyone can overcome money mistakes, but no one can overcome time mistakes. Right? Value your time. And just know that money is just energy. And then start investing in yourself. And sometimes people say, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. This is the absolute truth. You are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So take a look at your current environment. Is your environment supporting you? Supporting you towards who you want to become? Or is it holding you back? Right? Everything's about awareness. And once you become aware, then you can make some decisions. That's another thing. We've never been taught to make decisions. But not making a decision is also making a decision. Right? I just want people to know how simple and easy it can be, and that the rules of living an amazing life are simple and easy. But we have to be courageous enough to make some decisions for ourselves.
Yeah. And, your mantra is simple and easy, right? And that's the belief that you've created. And that is the lifestyle that you live, right? I know there's a lot of people that as soon as that comes out of your mouth, they have their limiting beliefs. And as humans, we're going to fight tooth and nail for our limiting beliefs, because that is what makes up our persona at that point in time, right? All these experiences are really not who we are. And we can, as you said, Yun, make a decision that today is going to be a different day. And instead of I've been going left my entire life. Well, guess what? I can wake up, I can even right here, right now, I can say at 1:51 on Tuesday, I'm going to start going right and make that decision and stick by it. I think for me, the idea of, coming out of here, my 3 takeaways, just like I said, change the perspective of what money is. Look at money that it's a tool. Just like you said, as far as investing, you cannot invest unless you have the money to invest. So you can't use the vehicle till you have the tool to be able to do it, right? The second thing is give everyone, including yourself, grace around the perception about money, right? A lot of what I find fascinating is as we go through understanding more about ourselves and uncovering what our capabilities are and really creating the life that we want, we start to uncover some of the things that don't serve us. And how many times have you and I been in conversation working with clients or within our groups that people get really weighed down by, oh my gosh, I learned this thing about myself that doesn't serve me. And then all of a sudden just take a crash and the vibration goes down. And now we get into self-judgment, right? I just had this conversation with you the other day, as far as, where I started to realize I was judging people because I was judging myself. And it wasn't about money, it was something else. But once I can release that, then everything changes for me. So understand, and just like so many things, we're taught certain things by people that love us to keep us safe. So don't put weight into that. Don't judge yourself on that. Understand a lot of what you do and how you do it's not your fault. The last thing I want to say is know what your worth is. And when I made that statement years ago, I'll tell you a story, a quick story from years ago. But when I say it now, everything, like my whole body explodes, because this idea of like, we don't really know what we're worth. We're capable of everything and anything when we don't fight for our limiting beliefs and we don't buy into those. And we can rewrite how we talk to ourselves of it's simple and easy, simple and easy. So the idea of knowing what your worth is, it's really difficult to put a financial number on what I'm worth as a person. If you think about it, like, no one can afford me. No one can, like, people can't afford each other. It sounds weird, but as far as what the value is, when I say know what your worth is, I remember a long time ago when we first had our first couple rental properties, I wanted to do everything because I figured, oh, I'll get it done quicker and I'm going to save money. I'm going to save money. There's that conversation. I'll save money. Well, someone said to me, they said, Matt, are you really saving money? I was like, yeah, I totally am. And he said, okay, he goes, well, you go and change, you got a tenant calls you and they say, hey, my toilet's broken, right? So you got to drop everything you're doing. He's like, do you keep all your stuff in your truck? I'm like, no. He's like, oh, so I'll walk you through what happens. He said, you drive to your house, get all your stuff, go to the property, figure out what's wrong, go to Home Depot. There's a plug for your Home Depot. Go to Home Depot, get the stuff you need, go back to the house. He said, Matt, be honest. How many times did you get back to the house and you bought the wrong part? I was like, Dave, it happens all the time. He goes, yeah. So you go back, get the right size, and then you go back, you fix it, then you clean up, then you drive home, then you unpack your tools, and now you spend time with your family. I was like, yeah, that's pretty typical. Like, are you watching me? He's like, no, because we all do it. That's working in your business versus on your business. He said, you don't know what your worth is. I was like, yeah, I'm worth a lot. He said, well, how much does the plumber cost? And I was like, oh, wow, like the plumber's a lot of money. He's like, how much does a plumber cost, Matt? I'm like, he's like $140 an hour. And first of all, he's like, you pay $140 an hour? And I was like, yeah, well, he's a master plumber and he's worth every penny. He's like, all right, fair enough if he's a master plumber. $140 an hour to me at that time was like, how could you pay that? I will scrape tooth and nail, waste my entire day to get that done. So he said, if you really think about it, as far as your time is concerned, that whole process I walked you through, was that the quick 1 hour repair that the plumber made that you paid $140? Or did it cost you a lot more money? And I started thinking about it. I said, whoa. So now all of a sudden, after that conversation, I was like, I'm way more than $25 an hour. So I'm not cutting the grass anymore. Like, that's ridiculous. And that's when I started making decisions of, is it worth my time? Because like you said, like, that's our most precious resource. You're not getting that back. All the money, like you said, Greg, all the money, everything in life can be wiped out in a second. However, with the right mindset and the right perception, and with our time, we can rebuild it all. But I can't get back what happened this morning. A lot of people know I wasn't feeling well. Whole nother story of what happened, but I lost a good chunk of time this morning because I didn't feel well. I'm not getting that time back. Those meetings that I showed up at that I wasn't playing all in, where the people didn't get the best of me, I don't have the time to, I can't pay them back. So we got to start looking at valuing ourselves. And that goes back to this whole idea of paradigms and what controls us. Because if we don't look at ourselves, another quick story, I remember meeting a guy when we first started investing, and I said, I want to sit down with you. He said, no problem, book an appointment. And he's like, you can pay me, before you come in. I was like, pay you? He's like, yeah, I'm $800 an hour. I want to fall over. I said, $800 an hour for what? Today, we're way worth more than that. So we got to look inside and understand, what are we worth? When we understand what we're worth, the idea about money completely goes out the window.
So powerful. So my three points that I would love to leave everybody behind with. Number one, invest in yourself. It's the greatest return, right? The whole purpose of us being here on this planet is to increase our awareness about who we are and what we are, right? Every single person on this entire planet has so many gifts inside of them that they could spend their entire lifetime trying to discover what they are, and they'll never even tap into a little bit of it. So start investing into yourself and really learn who you are. That's number one. Number two, passive income, baby. It's all about passive income. So invest, right? Take that active, turn it into passive, put into multiple streams of income so that you're diversified. Diversify. And the third thing, you are the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So take a quick look and say, am I supported by the people that I'm around all the time? Am I supported by that? Do they empower me to where I want to go, or are they holding me back? And then make some decisions, right? I'm a huge believer, coaches, masterminds, communities, wealth of knowledge, right? And people will share their knowledge with you. Just invest in yourself, invest into it 100% and go all in. And with that said, that wraps up our Tuesday talks. I hope you found some value in this. And again, the whole purpose in life, love and enjoy. We are magical beings on a magical planet where thoughts become things. Thank you very much for listening.
Have a great day, everyone.